Listen to me. If there was a wise man who would ever think of this, they would say in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. For I am the man himself. So, YouTubers, what do you want to talk about? Yes, it is very, very late at night. And yes, it's late at night on a Wednesday night, a night where I usually watch a few TV shows. Didn't get to tonight because I was trying to get the last of my shorts done from the WWE Draft, and I got caught up. And good news is I am off work the rest of the week because it is my wife's birthday in the next couple days, so I took a couple days off to spend some time with her, as she as well took a little bit of time off as well. So I thought I would try to get caught up here, as I definitely have a lot of content to get to for wrestling. First off, as always, what is going on, guys? This is the Club of the Man 1993. And we are here live for my live review of this past Monday night's episode of Monday Night Raw and Night 2 of the 2024 draft. Took place April 29th, 2024. And it was in Kansas City, Missouri. We're going to break this stream down into two parts. We're going to do just the show itself, and then talk about night 2 of the draft and my overall thoughts on the draft. So we'll do the show first, and then the draft, and then we will go from there. Normally, though, since we have a pay-per-view this week, Backlash is coming Saturday, and it's taking place in France, and so it will be an afternoon pay-per-view. I will probably be watching it live, and maybe evening do a review. We'll see. Not sure yet. I do still want to do a preview and predictions, but I still got to make the graphics. And normally I would not do a Raw or SmackDown review the week of, but again, because it's the draft, I had to do at least a Raw review. And because, of course, I like to keep things consistent, I will probably record a review of SmackDown this coming Friday as well. But of course, my next priority after this one, besides I will upload a full video of all the shorts to YouTube, like I did last year, which did pretty good for me. I will do my preview predictions. I will also do my SmackDown review and also Backlash review as well. But to roll into the show outside the draft, it does kind of reflect how I feel about Backlash this coming Saturday. Meh. Not horrible, but I don't expect it to be one of the strongest pay-per-views of the year. It feels like kind of like a cooldown. I'm not going to lie, the build's been a wee bit dry coming out of WrestleMania, which it is one of the times of the year where wrestling is a little bit slower, which, is fine. I still feel like we are still in the period of time where, and this is kind of like a preview into my thoughts on the draft as well, but I don't want to get too deep into that yet. But we're still in the time where Triple H is still dealing with a damaged roster that he got to work with for a while. Then Vince McMahon found his way back in, and he basically just, especially in the draft last year, took everything Triple H did and just destroyed all that. So, in other senses, basically since the fall, and then since January when Vince was gone for good, which he is because he did sell his remaining stocks with TKO. So he has no business at all getting back at all. He is doomed. He is done. He is gone. Adios. Sayonara. I don't want to ever see or hear about him ever again. So Triple H is still building up a roster that's full of a bunch of talents that have potential. Some can be salvaged, but some also, I feel like, is kind of getting to a point, and I briefly even discussed this also in my releases video last week. Just the fact that some of them just might be damaged goods. And unfortunately, it's because of Vince and where they stand. So, I don't know, but, one second. Let's answer this one quick text. But I don't know, though. So, I'm still in the mindset of, like, it's going to take time. Some people are getting somewhere, but there's still work to be done. And obviously, I feel like since WrestleMania, it's kind of been a thing where, like, he's giving out opportunities to people, but they're still seasoning at the same time. So that's why it's not, like, completely lighting the world on fire, but I can see they're trying. They are trying. This episode of Raw, again, outside the draft, though, was kind of filler, though. A couple things I did like, though. And we'll get to them in just a second. But first, let's check the live chat. Let's see who is here joining me late tonight. And it looks like it's just Tyler. He says, this was a letdown for the draft for night 2. Asuka, Ray, and others should be on SmackDown. I agree, especially with Ray. I'll talk about that in a second. He gave this show a C. Good to have Big Boy Braun back, and Owen should have went to Raw. Okay, yeah, those are fair points. And yes, Braun Strowman is back. He did make his return on this episode of Raw. What he's going to do, I don't know, but we'll talk about that, of course, in just a bit. But, thank you for your comments, as always, Tyler. If anybody else joins me in the live chat, hope so, but may not, because, again, it is 12:48 in the morning here in Pittsburgh. But, again, I'm off tomorrow. I have the energy still. I will at least get the Raw review done. I don't know if I'll stay up after that, but we'll see. So I do have a lot of stuff to do around my house and whatnot while I'm off, but I will, of course, be trying to, get some content and some stuff going again, as, again, I have definitely missed on doing some things for a while, but we will roll through and get to them. But let's talk about, again, the actual episode of Raw first. Again, the show opened up with Logan Paul arriving. He was advertised for this week's episode of Raw. He was actually, him and IShowSpeed, which he was the one who was in the Prime costume at WrestleMania, not KSI. I was corrected. I thought it was KSI, but it was IShowSpeed. I don't know all these random YouTube friends or entertainers that Logan Paul is BFFs with, so you'll have to excuse that. I do apologize. But he shows up and he just chilling with the Judgment Day, and just, they're just putting each other over how great they are and whatnot, blah, blah, blah. All that jazz. And then Becky Lynch made her entrance, and this is the first time she's showing up on Raw as the Women's World Champion, which she won the belt last week in the Battle Royale. does a usual intro, and it's been 2 years since she won a world title. Well, on the main roster, again, she won the NXT Women's Championship for like 40 days last year, which she was dethroned actually by somebody who did get called up on Raw that I am looking forward to seeing. But then Liv Morgan comes out, and she brags about injuring Rhea and being the only reason that Becky is holding the title. And she won't stop until she has everything she wants. And Becky's like, Liv, you're right. I wouldn't be holding this if it wasn't for what you did. But the thing, though, is that Liv would be holding it if it weren't for what Becky did to her. And then out comes Nia Jax, because even though she was drafted to SmackDown last Friday, she can still appear on Raw because the new rosters don't go into effect until next Monday, May the 6th. Nia basically goes, last week, I was going to be the superior, well, this is her last week on Raw, and she's getting ready to go to the superior brand, but she's here and she's going to kick some ass. And then Liv steps up and challenges her to a match later on in the show, which wasn't that bad, to be honest, when they had the match later on in the show. Tiffany Stratton, though, did show up at ringside, which, by the way, happy birthday to her. I watched, I listened, when I was driving around the city yesterday, because Tuesday nights I go out for trivia, and I have a long drive home, so I usually try to listen to like podcasts and whatnot to keep myself occupied. And I listened to Chris Van Vliet's interview with Tiffany Stratton, which was a nice interview, though I check it out. And I found out that today, May 1st, is actually her birthday. So happy birthday, Tiffany. It's Tiffy time. But she showed up looking great as ever. Not going to lie. She's definitely gone up on my scale for sure. Still not a fan of her character or mic work, but again, in the ring, she's got it. And I feel like she is in a prominent position to, look great. But she showed up, was in the front row. During the match with Liv and Nia, Naomi did come out and she got into a fight with Tiffany, which kind of distracted Nia and led to Liv Morgan getting the victory, which was a big win for her. And Becky said because she got that win, she will get a title shot. When and where, I don't know. I don't know if they'll wait till King of the Ring or she'll just get it on Raw. I don't know. But like I said last week, gotta keep just seasoning out this new Liv Morgan character. And they are kind of heading in that direction. Giving her this win over Nia was huge. And also, there was an interview later on in the show. I think they were talking to Jey Uso. And in the background, you saw her and Rhea's Latino Heat, Dominic Mysterio, coming out of the same room. So I'm still thinking that they're going to have some sort of an alliance with Liv and Dominic. Although, again, Dominic, though, is hurt. And apparently he is going to be getting Tommy John surgery. And he could be out for about 6 to 8 months, I heard. So it's going to be a while until Dominic does anything physical. But he's still going to be on screen because, he generates the heat. But that was kind of like a recap of what happened with Liv and Becky in the night. Gunther and Xavier Woods also had a match. Of course, right now Imperium is just Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser as they wrote off Giovanni Vinci, who actually, surprisingly, was not drafted to Raw. He was drafted to SmackDown. Spoiler alert, we'll talk about that when we get to the draft. And I did like the match with Gunther and Woods. I liked how, they were showing that, okay, even though Gunther was tamed, he's still dangerous. And he whooped the crap out of Xavier Woods. And there were times where, the idea was that Gunther was taking it too far. And Kofi Kingston, who was afraid for Xavier Woods' life, grabbed the towel. Anytime there's the towel grab, I always think back to that, either my match of the year or the tag match of the year from 2018. Undisputed Era and Mustache Mountains, Trent Seven and Tyler Bate. The match where I think they kayfabe hurt Trent Seven's knee. And just that story of, Tyler Bate, wanting to throw in the towel for Trent, and Trent kept begging him off, and Trent fighting off the pain like a freaking badass made me even more. I still wish Trent Seven was here. Just throwing that out there. And that him and British Strong Style were all together on the main roster. Because, man, he overlooked, underrated. He could sell and tell a story, one of the best I've seen personally. But that's what this match kind of reminded me of. Eventually, though, Gunther basically just beat every last breath out of Xavier Woods, though, and he did tap out via a submission for Gunther to win. As, again, he is definitely a favorite to win the King of the Ring tournament, as we see. The page refreshed on me. Hang on. Stay patient. Hang on, everybody just... Let me see here. Okay, slow down. Okay. Jey Uso was backstage, and come on, why is my page? Okay. Jey Uso was saying Damian Priest is going to catch a yeet down, and he also was asked about Logan Paul because he was talking to Damian. They were kind of trashing on Jey at the end of the show, and Jey says Logan just wishes they would have signed the Paul brothers and with a winning record, he would have signed the Paul brother with a winning record, probably referring to boxing or something. I don't know. But Logan did come out next. Him and IShowSpeed did the round of draft picks, and also he gloated and got Samantha Irvin to introduce him, as he does been doing that ever since he beat Ricochet at SummerSlam last year. So that's how they announced the draft picks. Logan says, now I want to get real. He came to Kansas City to make some picks and hang out with his pals. But now Jay's talking trash. Well, Damian Priest is going to beat him up. But then Jey comes out and he's pulled on the crowd whether he can win, and Logan claims he cannot out-yeet him because he has in fact has been yeeting since 2017. Finn and JD come out for the Judgment Day, and Logan runs Jey down as being no good alone and calls him stupid, and Jey launches into an attack, but then of course he starts getting beaten down, and then whenever he's down, Logan went to the outside of the ring, met up with Patrick Mahomes, the Kansas City Chiefs quarterback, and he gave him Super Bowl rings to use as brass knuckles. But when, of course, Logan went to do his business to Jey, he accidentally knocked out JD with the brass knucks instead. And then Jey starts, taking advantage of the distraction, taking everybody out, but he was still getting outnumbered, and that led to who had just been drafted, I think in the second round it was, Braun Strowman, who's been out for a year with a neck injury, I think it was. He made the save, and he chokeslams Finn Balor and chases off Logan Paul. And then he starts jawing also at Patrick Mahomes, but Jey Uso talks him out of it. So, I mean, it was cool to see Braun again, but what was this segment supposed to set up? To me, it teased a match with either Logan and Jey or Logan and Braun. But Logan is technically now a SmackDown star because the champions are protected and the U.S. title is a SmackDown title. So that was a little confusing. I don't know what that was supposed to set up, really, in my opinion, because I don't think we're going to be getting that match unless, they decide not to follow through with the brand split. Which, if they do that, then I will be pissed because, again, I said the other night, I'm all for the brand split. To me, again, the draft is whatever at this point. My expectations are always low for the draft. But if you don't stick with the brand split, that's what pisses me off. So I don't know what I'm supposed to accomplish, but, it was fine for what it was. Obviously, Braun Strowman scaring the piss out of Logan Paul. But, Braun's back. What will we do? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But glad to find him back. Have him back, sorry. Chad Gable was doing some business with the Awesome Truth, which apparently set up for a match later in the show with Awesome Truth and Alpha Academy, which is Otis and Akira Tozawa taking on Awesome Truth for the World Tag Titles. Alpha Academy lost. Match was meh. And also there was another match between, I think it was just Candice. No, it was Candice and Maxine, and Candice won, and it's probably ended their feud because they got drafted to separate brands. So those were whatever. But Chad Gable was conducting business, but then when he goes to leave, Sami Zayn came out of nowhere and hit him with a haluva kick. Sami, though, did have a match for the IC title, though, against Bronson Reed, but it got interrupted because Chad Gable came out for his revenge, but then Bronson Reed laid both of them out. So I don't think it was advised for Backlash, but I guess we're going to be getting a triple threat at some point instead for the IC titles, another one-on-one title match between Chad Gable, Sami Zayn, and Bronson Reed. Okay. So Drew McIntyre was pissed off because he got drafted after CM Punk. And then also, it was kind of like a game of like cat and mouse as Punk was hidden up in a balcony, and then Drew like ventured through the arena trying to find Punk. But when he gets to where Punk was gone, and Punk went down to the ring. And when Punk came out, he of course just says the thing that he's not going to waste our time. He's going to just get this over with. And he asked the Pat McAfee to time him. He says he has 5 minutes and 46 seconds. Punk says he usually asks if he has his attention, but Drew is more like an ex-girlfriend he can't get rid of. He hurt his elbow, which apparently McIntyre did. Good. McIntyre prayed for Punk to get hurt, so he hurt him back. And he got drafted first because all Drew is doing is going on Twitter while he was given purpose. Simple wrestling economics. He's the best in the world in this ring, on this microphone, even on commentary. Nobody can touch him. Losers hope things happen, pray for them to happen. Winners make it happen. And when he's cleared, when he's 100%, he promises he's going to make McIntyre's life a living hell. In and out in 2 minutes, just like he said. Best in the world, now and forever. So that was a nice little exchange there. But I didn't know Drew was hurt also, which sucks. I don't know how long he's going to be out for. But also, it was revealed recently, too, that Drew McIntyre did, in fact, sign a new contract with WWE. And I guess The Rock gifted him by giving him another sword, which was his gift for sticking around. So that was cool. We got that and whatnot. I think there was also a segment where before this happened, where Braun Breaker had a run-in with Sheamus, kind of teasing a feud between them, which will be interesting for sure. Two hard hitters on Raw, that'd be great. I do like that Braun, though, has kind of this like wide variety on Raw. Not saying he didn't have it on SmackDown, but it feels like this is more where he's meant to kind of get his gears going on the main roster. And a feud with Sheamus also should be good as well. What else do we got here? I already did that. I already talked about Maxine and Candice. Where are we at here? Come on, it's going too far down. There was a backstage with LWO minus Carlito, which we'll explain that in a second. And they ran into Dom, and I guess they're calling Dom Dirty Sanchez because of his mustache. And then Dom was like, "You're lucky I'm not cleared." And then he just walked away upset. So I guess we're still going to continue on with that. I don't know what else more we can do with that, but who knows. Then we had the Liv and Nia match. Come on, quick. Going past me. All those are draft picks. We already talked about that World Tag Title match. That's the draft. The main event was a 6-man tag with Jey Uso teamed up with Andrade and Ricochet. They took on Judgment Day's Damian Priest, Finn Balor, and JD McDonough. Babyfaces won with a diving splash from Jey onto Finn, and afterwards, Priest is sour while the babyfaces celebrate and commentary hypes up Backlash, and that's basically all that happened on the show outside of the draft. Just was what it was. Again, didn't hate it, but nothing super duper special either. But, whatever. But that was how that ended. So the draft for night 2. So, my overall thoughts on the draft before I get to it. Well, first, let's check the live chat first, see if anybody else said anything. Tyler said, why is WWE shoving Jade and Bianca down our throats? Bianca, I don't think as bad, but I do kind of still feel the same way where I know Jade can be a star, but I think she needs work. And I'm hoping... I guess I'm okay with her taking the tag titles with Bianca, but I'm just I still don't think Jade can get over that big and be a megastar within a year to get in the title of WrestleMania next year. I don't think that's going to happen. So I do kind of worry that they are kind of marketing her a little too hard and kind of setting the bar a little too high for her. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I am a little concerned that they're already starting to make Jade Cargill a little bit of a too big of a deal than she really is yet. He wants Charlotte to come back, and the first round of night 2 should have been Punk first and Drew also. Maybe, yes. What was round 1 actually? Round 1 was okay. Yes, I do agree, Punk, McIntyre could have been earlier, but it is whatever, but we'll talk about the picks here. But first, before I get to the picks, so there's been a lot of mixed feelings about this draft. I will say I definitely liked it better than last year's draft, because last year they were taking all these NXT stars, which some may not have been ready. I felt, for the most part, the ones they did this year, I felt were good ones to grab from NXT. We didn't really split many people up because Vince had a habit of just randomly splitting people up in the draft. No rhyme or reason, and then they're left to rot, basically. But I do understand that some people found this draft boring. I won't lie, I thought it was a little dry too. But then again, as I said earlier, I just keep my expectations for the draft low. Because I don't really expect any, big miracle. I'm more wondering, who the surprises are going to be. And we got a couple, mostly NXT talent, and of course Braun Strowman returning as well. But even this year, most of the people who moved are ones who are still kind of figuring things out. I see it as, okay, a chance for them to work with some fresh people and, still figure things out. But then again, the other problem was, other than maybe LWO, I guess Damage Control, maybe Sheamus, but not many. But there really wasn't any major names that changed in this draft. Other than, of course, if you want to count Roman Reigns going as a free agent, that's something, but, But yeah, so I thought the draft was decent to solid, but again, not much really happened. But like I said earlier, I still feel that Triple H, got his material taken away from him So it got destroyed again. So now he's got to try to fix it again. Pretty much is what I'm getting to. But let's talk about the picks. So the first round picks were all announced by Stephanie McMahon. It is good getting to see Stephanie back after she did leave the company when Vince came back. So obviously it shows that she doesn't want to work for her dad. And she probably wouldn't be here if her dad was still here. But the first round, the first pick going to Raw was Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser of Imperium, which I won't lie, was a good first round pick. Jade Cargill was picked second, staying on SmackDown. Like I said, I do kind of feel like they are overhyping her a wee bit. Like I said, she's got some work to do still. So I just hope they're not rushing her yet. Damage Control is moving to Raw. It's all 4 members, the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane, who are currently the women's tag team champions. They'll be defending them, though, and probably dropping them to Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill on Saturday, as I'm predicting. Spoiler alert. And Dakota Kai, and, of course, Io Sky, which, feud between Io and Becky, I'm not going to say no to that, one-on-one. And then Kevin Owens went to SmackDown. I love Kevin Owens, but I really don't see any big plans for him other than him, putting some big nasty stables over or something like that, like the Bloodline. So again, as much as I love the guy, I didn't think Owens should have been a round 1 pick. There was definitely a few others that I would have probably picked over him. But that's round 1. Round 2 was announced by... Crap, who was it now? Who announced round 2? I think I had it saved in the notes here. Come on. Oh, what am I thinking? Logan Paul and IShowSpeed. They announced round 2. Raw got CM Punk. SmackDown got The Pride, and they were finally addressed on TV as The Pride, which is, again, Bobby Lashley, B-Fab, and the Street Profits. Braun Strowman was announced returning to Raw, and of course he would return in a few minutes later. And Tiffany Stratton, or Tiffy Time, is staying on SmackDown as well. Only thing is, though, is I wonder, because she is dating Ludwig Kaiser, and they're going to be on separate brands, and I thought they were putting couples on the same brand, so little hairy on that one, but, Tiffy's already kind of, establishing herself on SmackDown, so I guess, she just got there, so why would she change? Some others have changed already too, but we'll see. But that's round 2. Round 3, the LWO, including Carlito, who turned on the LWO and was being revealed as Dragon Lee's attacker before WrestleMania. They all got drafted to Raw, and Legado del Fantasma is staying on SmackDown. That one I would have flip-flopped, because I wanted Legado del Fantasma to be on Raw, so I could see them maybe further something with Dominic and Santos. But I guess, I don't know, maybe because of Dom's injury, they had to pull the plug on it or something. But I still would have rather have had Legado del Fantasma on Raw instead of LWO. Because, what's LWO really going to provide, to be honest? Where there's already kind of something brewing with Dominic and Santos, so why not have them on the same show? So, I didn't quite understand that one. Like I said, I would have flip-flopped those two, but whatever. Then Drew McIntyre was drafted to Raw. And then Shinsuke Nakamura is heading back to SmackDown. I don't think his rule's going to change in how it's changed on Raw. I mean, I did like the character he developed in the Seth Rollins feud, but ever since then, he's just losing a lot. So, I don't know if this fresh coat of paint while returning back home to SmackDown will do him any good, but you never know. Round 4, Judgment Day was the first pick of Finn Balor, JD McDonough, and Dominic Mysterio. Of course, Rhea Ripley was not actually drafted at all in the draft, although I'm pretty sure she's going to stay on Raw since she is currently out hurt. Get a little more caffeine in me. So they were the first pick in round 4. Naomi staying on SmackDown. And then, well, the third pick I'll skip for a second. The fourth pick was Chelsea Green and Piper Niven going to SmackDown. Which I'm not going to lie, at first I thought that was a really good move. But then I forgot that SmackDown has Bayley, Naomi, Bianca, Jade, Tiffany. Like, is Chelsea going to get maybe a little overshadowed? But then, also, they announced on NXT the other night that Chelsea is going to be taking on the NXT Women's Champion Roxanne Perez next week, I think it was. And I guess they teased the reunion between her and Robert Stone, and she's praising Ava and saying, you know, you get it here, I like being here and whatnot. But I'm like, wait a minute, is Chelsea going to NXT or is she staying on SmackDown? So that confused me. Although if you give her a match with like her and Bayley, I'm sure it would be good. Her and Charlotte as well. But yeah, I still don't think you should be sleeping on Chelsea Green. She's a great character gimmick and whatnot. But we'll see, of course, what she has next. What else we got here? Oh, yeah. The third pick, though, in this round was the first from NXT on round for night 2. And I kind of expected this one, but Ilja Dragunov is coming to the main roster. I know Triple H has always been super high on Dragunov. He definitely can be deadly, and, you know, his size, you know, can make you underestimate him, I won't lie. But yeah, he is coming to Raw. I gotta say, though, I hate the theme song. Like, it sounds like... I don't know what it sounds like. It sounds something like a prancing prairie, or like... I don't know. It doesn't... I like his old one better. Like in NXT UK, it was especially if they call him the Mad Dragon. That's more so of like a fit. But this one is like it sounds like a children's video game or something. But we'll see what they do. I'm pretty sure, though, at some point we will get another match with Gunther and Dragunov, as they do have history from NXT. So don't sleep on that one for sure. He will be excellent. I just wish they had his old theme song back. Round 5, New Day staying on Raw. Okay, dry as hell. But then we got Pretty Deadly staying on SmackDown. We all know that I'm just not really the fan of what they bring to the table. I mean, I do, though, love their theme, not going to lie. It's a very catchy disco-type theme. But they're staying on SmackDown. Lyra Valkyria was drafted to Raw. I'm so happy for her. I've definitely had my eyes on her since she debuted in NXT UK, but she came over after the UK shut down. And she was actually, of course, the one who dethroned Becky Lynch to win the Women's World Championship. And she held on that until Roxanne Perez just dethroned her recently. But she's called up. She's going to Raw. I'm going to see what she can do. Again, I've always thought she was talented. I thought she would have been the one to dethrone Meiko Satomura whenever she had the NXT UK Women's title, but that didn't happen. But yeah, I'm interested to see what she does on Raw for sure. And then Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell moved to SmackDown. What they're going to do over there, I got no idea, but we'll have to wait and see. Round 6, the final round on the main show. Then there was the post show on Twitter, which they had 9 picks there. Well, some are teams, but for round 6, the final testament was picked first. That's Karrion Kross, Authors of Pain, Paul Ellering, and Scarlett Bordeaux. We had DIY going to SmackDown, which I'm thinking they'll probably soon have them be the one. I thought maybe it was going to be Street Profits, but I think it's going to be DIY because Johnny has history with both Austin and Grayson, so that could lead to something interesting for sure. And then, of course, if you want to go as far as do it maybe like Johnny and Cody or something like that, you can even do that as well. Give them an experiment with the single stars. As I keep mentioning though with DIY, just whatever you do, don't make it a nostalgia act. That's what I'm worried they're going to do. They're going to just turn it into a nostalgia act, and it's just going to feel like it's just being repeated again. Like, I want something different, but what they do with it, I don't know. But we'll see how it goes on SmackDown. Bronson Reed is staying on Raw, and the last pick in the last round of the televised draft, going to SmackDown, is Blair Davenport from NXT, or formerly known as Bea Priestley, which I liked her also. I also thought she could have been someone to maybe dethrone Mako, but that didn't happen. I don't think she was in NXT for that long. But she's talented. I think she'll be great on the main roster and, provides a very fresh face for this women's division. So we'll have to wait and see. And then the post-Raw picks, like on Twitter. We had Ivy Nile and the Creed brothers staying on Raw, which to me that just senses more that Chad Gable is going to turn on Alpha Academy and replace them with the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile. That would be very interesting to see. Of course, I agree. But we had that. Going to SmackDown is Giovanni Vinci. I still don't know what direction they have for Giovanni as a babyface. Or if even it's going to be a face, maybe he's on separate brands, he's still a heel, but whatever. They can give him his old music back when he was Fabian Eichner. I think that would be awesome. Someone also pitched the idea of NXT calling up the family, which of course is Tony D'Angelo and Channing Stacks Lorenz, wherever his sidekick is. Yeah, and then they just had they had pitched the idea of maybe putting Giovanni with them, but of course they didn't get called up. But I guess he's staying right now. I don't know who's actually staying and who may be leaving and going back to NXT. I don't know, but yeah, he went to SmackDown. New Catch Republic stayed on Raw. Which, of course, they seem to tease a few with them and the Authors of Pain, so we'll see how that goes down on later on in the week. I don't know why I said that. Well, in the coming weeks, with a few with New Catch Republic and Authors of Pain. Tegan Nox is going back to SmackDown, but she was not drafted with Natalya. I think that's the only women's tag team they officially split up and sent to different brands. Not going to lie, that bothers me a little bit, though, because I feel like it was an interesting way to kind of build like that underdog babyface momentum for Tegan Nox, but I don't know if they just went ahead and pulled it, so I don't know what's going on, but she's someone I'm also worried that may get the boot soon, because they really haven't done anything with her in ages. I'm starting to feel the same way that I felt before she got released the first time, which I, again, would hate to see because I'm definitely a big Tegan Nox fan. And I know that if booked right, she could, be a solid, purebred babyface to win a women's title, tell a great underdog story if they would give her that chance. But, I don't know. I'm just starting to worry that maybe they don't really see as much in her as we thought. But we'll see. She's going to SmackDown. Dijak, formerly known as Dominik Dijakovic or T-Bar from Retribution, he's getting called up and heading to Raw. I haven't seen too much of his work, but I know he's had some really good matches for a North American title. So I'm pretty sure he still got it. Again, he went back after Retribution ended and rebranded and then called himself Dijak, which is the last name from his indie name, which was Donovan Dijak. And, of course, him and Keith Lee had a series of great matches, but Keith Lee ain't here right now, so we can't do another one now. But, yeah, so he's going to Raw. Let's see where this goes. Apollo Crews is going to SmackDown. And I've said recently, too, again, I love Apollo Crews. I know he's a great in-ring talent, but again, he's been in WWE now for, almost 10 years, and he still has not yet developed a solid character. I don't know about that. I feel like if there was another set of releases, I don't want it to happen, but I could see Apollo Crews being one person they would release. Because he's got the in-ring ability, but he just hasn't been able to find his character at all. But there's that one. And then the final ones are staying on Raw, which are Kaden Carter, Katana Chance as a tag team, Natalya, and Odyssey Jones, who was drafted last year but didn't even have a match, but who knows. And then the ones who were not drafted, most of them due to injury. Well, there is Brock Lesnar, who is already confirmed as a free agent a year ago or whatnot, but of course he had other occupations, and he is also still in some hot water from what I've heard. But Alexa Bliss was not drafted, and neither was Big E. Both of them are dealing. Well, Alexa Bliss, is dealing with childbirth. Maybe she'll be back soon, or they're waiting until Uncle Howdy, of course, debuts, which that was, of course, another one on this list, Uncle Howdy. But they're probably just waiting for that moment. Even though, again, we all know what it's going to be. Again, Big E, though, may never wrestle again. He's been out with that neck injury, but he says he's feeling good, but it's still going to be a while. Charlotte Flair is out with injury. Dexter Lumis, where the hell is he? He's not on NXT. I haven't heard anything about him being injured. He's just vanished. But yeah, he's still under contract, but, I don't know what they're going to do with that. But that one's kind of out of my hands there. Eric from the Viking Raiders, obviously. Ivar was drafted, so I'm guessing Valhalla just goes with him. I don't know what's going to happen with that. But yeah, Eric, who's still with injury. Jimmy Uso's out with injury. Nikki Cross, which is someone else, I guess I'm a little surprised they didn't release, because she is going to school for her PhD right now. She already seems to have a few steps out the door of wrestling. So she wasn't even advertised, mentioned at all. So yeah, it's just weird. I don't know what they're doing. I'm sorry. I feel like Nikki's already having both feet out the door, and I feel like she's just focused on life after wrestling. So if she never wrestles again for WWE, I wouldn't be surprised. Omos, which again, why make Omos a free agent just to come back here and there and lose his matches? Why is he even still here? But he's there. Raquel Rodriguez was dealing with that one illness that she had under control, but it came back at the Chamber, so she's going to be gone for some time. Rhea Ripley, we all know her situation. Hopefully about maybe 8 to 12 weeks or something like that. I can't remember what the recent prognosis was. Robert Roode, still dealing with a neck injury, being producer, but not sure. He says he's not sure if he really feels like if he would be cleared, if he would really want to do what he's doing now. So maybe that's what it was. We'll wait and see. Shotzi Blackheart is also out with a knee injury. Probably won't be back till maybe around next year's WrestleMania season or whatnot. Sonya Deville, who's been out with a torn ACL, is rumored to be returning soon, so fingers crossed on that. Tamina hasn't even been talked about or seen in ages, but she got drafted. Oh wait, no, she didn't get drafted. She was undrafted. And then, of course, finally, Uncle Howdy, which, of course, again, it's very obvious that it's him from the, what's it called now? From the vignettes they're doing. So, yeah, that's who wasn't drafted. I'm sure most of them are going to have homes already. For example, Charlotte, I'm sure, is staying on SmackDown to be with Andrade, and Rhea is staying on Raw, I'm pretty sure. Where the others go, I have no idea. I think I forgot to mention Carmella also. I hear rumors that Carmella seems like she's settling more in as a stay-at-home mother, which, if that's what she wants to do, all power to her. So some of these people may not be coming back to the ring, but we'll have to wait, of course, and see. But overall, again, my expectations were low for the draft. I don't expect much. I know a lot of people were disappointed that no main eventers really moved, which, you know, to me, it is what it is. Again, I really didn't expect much. But I did like that it felt like they did shuffle around people who are still, you know, learning, still trying to find what clicks. So maybe, again, like some fresh coats of paint is going to be what helps in that route as well. There's really nothing else in the live chat other than the fact that Chris Leclerc did mention that Eric Rowan apparently did re-sign a new deal with WWE, and I heard so too. So I'm guessing they're going to be part of something, again, with Uncle Howdy and whatnot. So we will just have to say. But yeah, I'm now starting to feel it, guys. They want to check out. Thank you to Tyler and Chris, though, of course, for joining me for this live review. Again, I will be live for the preview and the review for Backlash. But again, I will record a SmackDown review. But again, this probably will be the last time in a while that I do a weekly live review for a weekly show. So we'll wait and see. But I'm going to check out, guys, now and go to bed. What are your guys' thoughts on this episode of Raw? I gave it a B-, being a little generous there, B-. What grade would you give it? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And be sure also, as always, to slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content to come on my channel. Follow me on Twitter as well at the Club of the Man 93. Also follow me on TikTok and Instagram at the Club of the Man 1993. And guys, until then, I'm checking out. I'll catch you guys all later. Have a great rest of your night. And do not forget, in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. And for I am the man himself. And that is not just an opinion, my friends. That is a fact of life. Yeah!